Hera, the queen of the gods, the wife of Zeus, and also the woman who threw her baby down a cliff because it was too ugly, and the woman who tried to murder another baby with snakes in its baby crib. On a more casual note, she's also the woman who single-handedly started a civil war to take down her husband. Mind you, this woman's title is the goddess of matrimony, protector of family, so no wonder all the families in Greek mythology are so messed up. Damn. All of the above is why Hera is generally considered evil by most. But what's often forgotten is that her husband Zeus has over 1,000 illegitimate children and Hera never cheated on him once. So there's a lesson in here somewhere along the lines of, if you're gonna cheat on your loyal woman, don't be surprised if she throws an ugly baby down the cliff or something like that. Anyway, that's why I call this episode Note that there are some extra facts about Hera that don't really fit the flow of my storytelling, but for completion's sakes, I want to include them at the end, so watch until then if you want everything there is to know about Hera. Hera is somehow the best, most loyal, and most patient wife ever, and at the same time the most terrifying one. And the story of her and Hercules is the best example for that. She tried to kill him when he was a baby. Now, that's not the baby she threw down a cliff, that's the other baby she tried to murder with snakes when it was in its baby crib. So this Hera you might remember from the 1997 Hercules movie.
Hercules, we're so proud of you.
This Hera never existed. Hera hated Hercules, whose Greek name was actually Herakles, which roughly translates to Hera's glory, and was an attempt by Zeus to make his wife hate him less for yet another illegitimate son. Unfortunately, Hera was not as forgiving as Catelyn Stark, and wanted to see Herakles dead, starting when he was a baby. And so, snakes in the baby crib it was. But baby Herakles was born OP, so he strangled the two snakes without mercy because animal rights did not matter too back then. And Hera's plan was thwarted. So her logical next step was to use magic to drive adult Herakles mad and have him murder his wife and his children. Bruh, Hera had no chill. Sadly, it worked. And once Herakles woke up covered in his own family's blood, he made up for his sins by swearing servitude to Ares and changing his name to Kratos, by doing the 12 labors of Herakles. But good job on not hiding your inspiration there, God of War. So that's Hera tries to kill baby story number 1. Here's Hera tries to kill baby story number 2. Hera was tired of Zeus trying to impregnate everything that can get pregnant and also everything that can't. Because this guy wouldn't know what restraint was if you slapped him in the face with it. In fact, if you slapped him in the face with it, he'd probably like it. So Hera really suffered through her marriage with Zeus and eventually decided that if he's gonna have his own kids, then she can too. So Hera birthed Hephaestus, all on her own, no man needed. Hera wanted something that was just hers, and to be fair, with Zeus taking everything he wanted for himself, this girl really deserved it. But then the baby was too ugly and she was disgusted by it and threw it off Mount Olympus. Understandable. That baby was Hephaestus, and because gods are immortal, you don't have to worry. The baby was only crippled for life and hit his head on the side of the mountain, making him even uglier. But years later, disfigured Hephaestus made it back up to Mount Olympus, back to his loving mother. Slowly, very, very slowly, because crippled leg, you know. And then Hephaestus held his mother hostage until Zeus promised him he can marry the goddess of beauty, Aphrodite. Family dynamics over 9,000. Also, holding the mother who cast you out for being ugly hostage to get married to the goddess of beauty that everyone wants, that's a pimp move if I've ever seen one. Like, later, Hera would finally get her wish of a beautiful, powerful son, though. Her and Zeus had Ares, the god of war, who was so powerful and so gorgeous that he seemed destined to be his father's successor. If it wasn't for the fact that Ares was born with a massive fetish for violence, I guess seriously gave him a hard-on. The type of fetish that makes Joffrey from Game of Thrones look cute. And there's a specific scene where Joffrey has his fetish on detail in the show. I don't know if I can show it without getting demonetized, but you know the one. As the god of war, Ares never wanted wars to end and always supported whatever side was about to lose, so that wars kept going and more people died in as violent a way as possible. Even King Creep and abused Zeus was like, damn, that boy got issues, boy. And he hated Ares, refused to recognize him as his successor or even as a son, and instead had another illegitimate child, Athena, who Zeus named the true goddess of war. If you're Hera, that's just salt in your wounds at this point. I mean, damn. So Hera was about done with Zeus, understandably, and Ares didn't exactly feel great about his father hating him either, so it wasn't hard for Hera to convince Ares to join her for her next move: overthrow Zeus. I mean, can you blame a girl? Reminder, Zeus had 1,000 legitimate children, and the Athena thing on top, I'm 100% on girlfriend's side on this one, as were all the gods. Everybody joined the daring rebellion because everybody hated Zeus. That dude was essentially the anti-Raymond. Get it? Everybody loves Raymond? 90s kids will get it. Poseidon and Apollo accepted pivotal roles as leaders of the rebellion and supported Hera in rallying all the gods and goddesses to usurp Zeus, and in their combined bravery, the gods attacked Zeus while he was sleeping. Seriously, they chained him to his bed with shackles while he was sleeping, with shackles made by Hephaestus. Yes, the ugly baby that Hera threw down a cliff still joined his mother in the rebellion, which gives you an idea of how much Zeus was truly hated. Zeus literally had no ally once the seed of the rebellion had been planted. But as soon as Zeus was imprisoned, the gods found out why he ruled with an iron fist that left no room for other egos. Because every god's ego suddenly started flaring up. They were all up in their Game of Thrones, with everybody making a claim to rule. Even Zeus' beloved daughter Athena, who he birthed himself, made a claim to the throne. The only person that didn't want the throne was Zeus' sister Hestia. But still, she didn't help free Zeus. She wasn't a fighter. She wasn't daring like that. The one person that unexpectedly and randomly came to Zeus's rescue was Thetis, a minor sea goddess who realized that the gods' power struggle would plunge the world into chaos. So she snuck away to call on Zeus's only remaining ally, Briareos, one of the three so-called Hecatoncheires, being with 100 arms and 50 heads, who were once all locked away in Tartarus, the Greek mythology hell, by their father Uranus, who feared their power. But on his rise to taking over, Zeus freed all the Hecatoncheires, so they were on Zeus's side. And once Thetis reported the situation, Briareos immediately stormed Mount Olympus to free Zeus. And once King Sparkles was free, boy, there's a reason the gods attacked Zeus while he was sleeping. Zeus slapped them around like a pimp and had special punishments for those he felt betrayed by the most: his wife Hera and his brother Poseidon and his son Apollo. Apollo and Poseidon were forced into labor to help construct the walls around the city of Troy, and Hera, Zeus had her shackled and hung from Mount Olympus until she promised to never oppose him again. Such a loving husband. You can tell she was his favorite of all his 7 wives. I feel bad for Hera, I'm not gonna lie. Zeus is just the worst. So that's Hera in a nutshell. And because Hera's own marriage was going so swell, she was made the goddess of marriage, and because she only threw one of her 3 babies off a mountain, she was also the goddess of motherhood. But for real, Hera really did protect women, especially pregnant and married women and their family, and never acted out against them or the innocent. It was just when you slept with her husband. When you slept with her husband, man, boy, them earrings came off with a quickness, you know what I mean? Hera often finds herself as the antagonist to many heroes in Greek mythology, but that's just due to them being legitimate children of Zeus and Hera reacting to his infidelity. Granted, those were big reactions because on top of everything else, Hera was also the goddess of bringing a gun to a knife fight. Time for the extra notes. Hera had other children that I don't mention in the video because it didn't fit the flow and it's not really clear whether they are her children or not. What's definite is that her and Zeus had another daughter, Hebe, the goddess of youth. Also, the goddess of childbirth, Eileithyia, is mostly considered Zeus's and Hera's daughter, but the rest of Hera's children depend on who tells the story. Sometimes Hecate, the goddess of magic, is a child of Hera, and sometimes even Prometheus is a child of Hera from before she got with Zeus, a child that she had with the titan Eurymedon. There's also the goddess Enyo, who is sometimes said to be her child, and even others. So you see, it's weird, and that's typical mythology. a lot of it contradicts each other and is messed up over the thousands of years that these stories were written down and retold. But usually it's only Ares, Eileithyia, and Hebe that are children of Hera, and Hebe, by the way, would later marry Hercules, aka Herakles, after he joins Mount Olympus. There's more to Thetis, the one who saved Zeus by alerting Briareus. You should know that Thetis was prophecy bound. If she ever had a son with a god, that son would be greater than Zeus, and Zeus knew about that prophecy. So you see where this is going. After Zeus was freed by Thetis, Zeus showed his gratitude by having her ambushed by a mortal man who would force her to marry him and impregnate her. Yeah, there's a reason everybody hated Zeus. But hey, you gotta say, the dude solved problems efficiently. That son of Thetis turned out to be Achilles. So imagine if a god had been the father. But the story of Achilles, that's another video for another day. And guys, this is always so cringe, so at least I got the dog to make this visually more appealing. It's true that a subscription helps a lot. So if you enjoyed this video, if you could subscribe, it would mean the world. If you would turn on the notification so that bell rings when I upload, which I do twice a week, it would mean the world. If you want to leave a comment, that would be amazing. Leave a comment, let me know what you thought. Let me know what you want to see next, or critique me on something I might have gotten wrong. And I'll see you guys on the next one, all right?